based on the numbers, being a vice president in Zimbabwe guarantees only one thing, that you will never ascend to the presidency. Of the 9 vice presidents that have sat in the second seat since the role was created in December 1987, only one has succeeded to the presidency, and that is the current president, Emmerson Mnangagwa. And he had to rely on a military coup to turn his sacking by President Robert Mugabe into succession. And the general who facilitated that military intervention in 2017 is being taught a tough lesson that loyalty as number 2 does not translate into becoming number 1. Vice President Dr. General retired Constantino Chiwenga could only watch as his hopes of stepping up to the top seat were dashed at the October 2025 ruling ZANU-PF party conference in Mutare. Prior to the conference and under the constitution, President Mnangagwa and the first secretary of ZANU-PF was in his second and final term in the top job, ending in 2028. And then the conference endorsed resolution number 1 from the 2024 conference to extend Mnangagwa's term by 2 years to 2030. This means that the constitution must be amended, edited, or violated. ZANU-PF has a supermajority in parliament, it controls all the courts, and has total influence over all other relevant bodies. So whatever option they choose to keep the president in power, it will happen. And once the constitution has been adulterated once, what is to prevent it happening again and then again? As kingmaker in 2017, Vice President Chiwenga has no legal options to prevent his migration to the sidelines and then to just a footnote in history, unless he can convince a critical number of parliamentarians to resist the constitutional changes being proposed. And if Mnangagwa's rule has shown anything, it is that within the ruling party, Mnangagwa is president, but cash is the king, and Chiwenga does not have access to the funds needed to defeat the coming attack on the constitution. Join us next week as we examine the rise of the Zvigananda, those close to the president that benefit from enormous government contracts, and make sure they pump part of their proceeds back into the system to keep their benefactor in power. And do you think Vice President Chiwenga has any options to keep alive his hopes of the top job? This is Spotlight on Zimbabwe. I'm Violet Gonda.